Betrayal doesn't crash through your life like a thunderstorm. It seeps in slow, silent, like smoke curling under a locked door. You don't even realize it's there until the air's too thick to breathe and the whole room's already burning. When it came for me, I was 17, sitting at my Aunt Laura's dining table while every face I'd known my whole life turned toward me like I'd already confessed to something I hadn't done. That night changed everything. It burned my name out of my own family. But 17 years later, when Aunt Laura tried to take away the only home I'd ever built, I finally showed her, and the whole town, who the real thief had been all along. My name is Angela, and this is how I was accused of stealing at 17, abandoned by everyone I loved, and how nearly 2 decades later, I used the truth I'd hidden all that time to bring my aunt's crooked empire to its knees. Stick with me till the end, and I'll tell you honestly, whether I went too far. Aunt Laura's dining room smelled like overcooked roast and that sharp, choking perfume she wore, the kind that clung to your clothes for days. The ceiling fan rocked back and forth, making the yellow light sway over the long polished oak table. Every surface gleamed. Every picture frame on the wall told a story of smiling cousins, graduation gowns, silver-trimmed weddings, proof that our family made people worth admiring. And there I was, 17, sitting at the far end of the table, trying to disappear into the wallpaper. Laura tapped her wineglass with one long manicured nail. The ring of crystal sliced through the chatter like a warning bell. She leaned back, her lipstick bleeding at the corners of her smile. "Money's gone from my purse," she said, voice casual, too casual, as if she'd just commented on the weather. She didn't look at Cousin Sharon. She didn't look at my brother Gary, just me. Forks froze in midair. Conversation died. All eyes turned toward me, bright and sharp like searchlights. My chest tightened. "I didn't take anything," I said. My voice didn't shake, not yet. I thought the truth would protect me. Then my mother's hand closed around my arm, her nails pressing through my sleeve. I could smell the wine on her breath as she leaned close and whispered, "Tell me the truth." Angela. That was the moment something in me cracked. Not because she doubted me, but because when I looked at her, I saw relief. My guilt made her life simpler, easier to understand. Gary sat 2 seats away, frozen, eyes wide, fork still hanging in the air. He looked scared, but he said nothing. Later that night in his room, I found it. A torn bank envelope wedged behind his baseball cards. His name written in blue ink, $200 withdrawn 3 days earlier. He stared at me, face pale under the lamp. His voice trembled. "Don't," he whispered. "Please don't tell." And I didn't. Because I thought that's what sisters were supposed to do. Carry the weight, even when it breaks your back. I folded the envelope carefully and hid it in my backpack, between the pages of my only book. Some part of me must have known. Someday, the truth would matter. Before dawn, I left home. Backpack half unzipped, $86 in my pocket, betrayal burning on my tongue. I didn't have a plan, just a bus ticket and a heart full of smoke. The station smelled like wet coats and burnt coffee. When I stepped off in Riverside at 4 a.m., the streets were empty, and the fog clung low to the ground. The only light came from a small bakery on the corner, Benjamin's Bread and Coffee. The bell above the door jingled softly as I stepped inside. Warmth hit me like a wave. Cinnamon, yeast, butter, and safety. A man with flour on his arms looked up from the counter. "You lost or hungry?" he asked. "Both," I managed. His wife slid a steaming roll across the counter. "Eat," she said. "Then mop. We open in 2 hours. That was my job interview. That was the start of everything. Benjamin and Deborah Carter never asked questions. They didn't care about my soaked shoes or my shaking hands. They gave me work, then later a key to the small room upstairs. A narrow bed, a window that jammed, a heater that rattled, rent taken straight from my paycheck. No pity, no judgment. For the first time, silence meant safety. Deborah taught me how to refill jam jars without spilling a drop. Benjamin showed me how to knead dough until it listened to me. "You don't fight it," he'd say. "Treat it rough. It dies." The days fell into rhythm. Scrub, sweep, slice, breathe. My muscles ached, but it was the kind of ache that meant you belonged somewhere. Every week, I wrote home. Short letters. I'm fine, don't worry. Sometimes I slipped a few bills inside for Gary. No name, no return address. Just a ghost sister haunting the mailbox. For a while, that was enough. But betrayal doesn't leave quietly. It circles back when you least expect it. One morning, a white envelope slid under the bakery door. The rent was going up at 18%. At the bottom, the name hit me like a punch. Mercer Properties. Aunt Laura's company. The same family that had thrown me out was now trying to take my home again. I stood in the kitchen, hands covered in flour, staring at the paper until the letters blurred. Deborah put her hand on my shoulder. "We'll figure it out," she said softly, but her voice trembled. I couldn't let them lose this place. Not her, not him, not again, so I started fighting, quietly at first. I saved every receipt, every email, every late-night phone call. I photographed the leaky ceiling and broken heater. I gathered proof of rent payments made faithfully for 15 years. I spent nights at the library studying tenant law under flickering lights. The deeper I dug, the uglier it got. Mercer Properties had done it before. Hiking rents, forcing small businesses out, letting buildings rot until tenants broke. It wasn't business. It was predation, but I wasn't that scared 17-year-old anymore. Word spread. A local reporter came. The story hit the papers. Beloved Riverside Bakery bled dry by corporate landlord. Customers flooded in. Strangers filled the tip jar, bought bread in bulk, and whispered, "We've got you." Something inside me lit up. For the first time, I wasn't running. I was standing my ground. Then, one evening, Benjamin and Deborah sat me down. Steam curled from their tea. "We're ready to retire," Benjamin said. "We want you to take the shop." I was 34, broke, terrified, and for the first time, ready. I gathered everything. The letters, the photos, the documents. I wasn't just defending a bakery, I was exposing an empire. The city council meeting was packed. Reporters, small business owners, neighbors, all watching. In the front row sat Aunt Laura Mercer, flawless as ever, tapping her nails, bored. She didn't recognize me. When it was my turn, I walked to the podium, folder in hand. My voice shook, but my words didn't. "Members of the council," I began. "I'm here to contest the rent increase imposed by Mercer Properties on Benjamin's bread and coffee." I opened the folder and laid out every proof I had. Every email, every lie, every ignored repair. "This business has operated in Riverside for 32 years, I said, 15 of those under the same lease. They've paid on time, kept the building standing when Mercer Properties wouldn't lift a finger. And now, they're being punished for surviving." The room fell silent. Even Laura stopped tapping her nails. And for the first time since I was 17, I didn't feel like the accused. I felt like the one holding the match. I projected documents, rent receipts, ignored maintenance requests, photos of leaking roofs, cracked windows, dead furnaces. Mercer Properties has a pattern. Over 5 years, they've forced out 12 small businesses through unjustified increases. Everyone is replaced by corporate chains. Murmurs rippled. Laura shifted uncomfortably. "But there's something else you should know about this landlord." I clicked to the next slide. A photo appeared. Laura's dining room. That yellow light, that polished oak table. Laura's face went pale. 17 years ago, Laura Mercer accused me of stealing $200 at a family dinner. I was 17. Her nephew, my brother Gary, actually took it, but she chose to believe I was guilty. The room went silent. "I have proof." I held up the bank envelope. "Gary's name is still visible, preserved for 17 years. I kept this, not for revenge, because I knew the truth mattered." I looked directly at Laura. Her composed face was cracking. She exiled me that night, told everyone I was a thief. I ended up here at Benjamin's Bakery at 4:00 a.m. with $86 and nowhere else to go. Benjamin and Deborah saved my life. My voice broke. I pushed through. And now Laura Mercer is trying to destroy the only home I've known. This isn't about rent. This is about a pattern of cruelty. This is about accountability. I placed the final document, a legal brief prepared with pro bono help. I'm not just asking you to deny this increase. I'm asking you to investigate Mercer Properties for predatory practices. I have documentation of 12 cases, signed statements, evidence of systematic exploitation. I stepped back. Laura called me a thief at 17, but she's been stealing livelihoods, community spaces, futures, and I'm not letting her steal anything else. The council deliberated 20 minutes. When their turn, the decision was unanimous. Rent increase denied. Investigation into Mercer Properties opened. Immediate inspection mandated. As applause erupted, I watched Laura stand. She moved toward the exit, but her eyes found mine. She stopped. Recognition flickered. "You," she whispered. "Me," I said. "The thief you exiled. I didn't steal from you then, Laura. But you tried to steal my future, and I'm not letting you steal anyone else's." Her mouth opened, closed. No words. She left without a sound. The local reporter approached. "That was brave. Can I interview you?" "Yes," I said. "But I want to talk about Benjamin and Deborah, too. About what a real family looks like." The article ran 3 days later. Front page. False accusations, true justice. How one woman exposed a predatory landlord. It included Gary's envelope photo, quotes from other targeted business owners, a timeline of Laura's exploitation. Within a week, the state attorney general announced a formal investigation. Laura's company faced $340,000 in fines, mandatory restitution, civil lawsuits. Her pristine reputation built on philanthropy and church donations crumbled like stale bread. 2 months later, the bakery bell rang. Gary stood in the doorway, older, leaner, but the same eyes that once begged me to stay silent. He didn't speak at first, just stood there, shifting, gaze sweeping the bakery like he wasn't sure he was allowed inside. "Finally, I heard what you did." At the hearing, I nodded, waited. "You told the truth," he said, voice cracking about me. "I kept that envelope for 17 years. Not because I hated you, because I knew the truth would matter more than keeping peace." I swallowed hard. "I'm sorry for everything. For letting you take blame. For never speaking up." "I know," I said. The words I'd craved were finally there, and I realized I didn't need them anymore. But he did. I slid a roll across the counter, just like Deborah had done for me. "Eat," I said. He stared, confused. "Then mop," I added. His laugh cracked into a sob. "What? You want forgiveness, Gary? Earn it. I work here every Saturday for a year. Face the people. Learn what accountability looks like." Tears streamed. "Really? Really? Benjamin and Deborah gave me a chance with nothing. I'm giving you the same, but you do the work." He nodded, unable to speak. "And Gary, Laura knows now. The whole town knows you can't hide. So if you're here, be honest about everything, I will," he whispered. "I promise." He showed up that Saturday at 5 a.m., flour-dusted apron. Shaking hands, Deborah handed him a mop without a word. He worked every Saturday for a year. I learned to knead dough, to smile at customers who whispered, to face his shame. Slowly, he became someone worth forgiving. Laura never apologized. Not to me, not to anyone. But her company faced massive fines, lost contracts. Her board forced her to step down as CEO. The other businesses Mercer Properties pushed out. Some came back. New owners filled empty storefronts. Riverside breathed again. And me, I'm still here. Benjamin and Deborah transferred ownership officially. We're named it Benjamin's & Co., honoring them, honoring the community that saved me. My name is on the lease. My hands are still dusted with flour. My heart is still beating. Some nights I lock up late. The street is empty. Bread smell thick in the air. I lean against the counter, listening to the hum of freezers. Thinking about that 17-year-old girl who left Laura's house with $86 and a stolen envelope. She thought she was running away. He didn't know she was running toward everything that mattered. Family isn't blood. Sometimes family is the people who hand you a roll at 4:09 a.m. and say, "Eat then mop." That's the truth no one can take away. Living well isn't just the best revenge. Sometimes telling the truth in public is. Now here's my honest take. Angela did exactly the right thing. Laura destroyed a 17-year-old's life over a lie, and 17 years later tried to destroy Angela's home. Exposing a pattern of predatory behavior that hurt 12 businesses isn't revenge. It's justice. And making Gary work for forgiveness. That's real accountability. What do you think? Did she go too far exposing Laura publicly? Or did Laura get what she deserved? Should she have forgiven Gary without conditions? Drop your opinion in the comments. If this moved you, smash that like button and subscribe for more stories about people who turned betrayal into justice. Remember, documentation is power and truth always finds light. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.